The breeding crisis. The planet Zalara was quiet. Too quiet. Once it was full of life. The skies sparkled with bright ships. Children laughed in floating schools. Families filled the glass cities. But now, all of that was fading. The Valari, a proud, alien race, were dying, not because of war, not because of disease, but because the females could no longer have children. For generations, scientists worked to fix the problem. They tried cloning, failed. They tried artificial wombs, failed. They even tried mixing genes from other alien races. Nothing worked. And then, one day, they made a strange discovery. Inside an ancient medical database from a long-forgotten trade ship, a genetic map glowed bright green. A match. A perfect match. Humans. The Valari Council gathered in silence. 7. Female leaders stood around a tall crystal table. One of them, Elder Missia, whispered, "Earth is far, but their men carry the exact markers." Another elder added, "It may be the only way our kind survives." They looked at each other, then nodded once. "It is decided," Missia said. "We send the call." But Earth would never agree to send human males as breeding stock. So the Valari used the old paths, the black markets, the silent abductors, the illegal traders. They didn't want many, just a few. Enough to restart a future. That's how Eli Ward vanished. Eli was a young man working at a quiet mining post on Mars Sector 7. One night, after a long shift, he fell asleep in his pod. He dreamed of oceans, of laughter, of green hills. When he opened his eyes, he wasn't on Mars anymore. He was lying on a soft surface that felt like air and silk. A pale blue ceiling stretched above him, glowing faintly. The air smelled like flowers. And something else he couldn't name. His head hurt. His arms felt heavy. He tried to sit up, but his body didn't move right. Then, from the corner of the room, a figure stepped forward, tall, graceful, not human. She had smooth, glowing skin, silver blue. Her eyes were like pools of light. Her voice was calm. "You are awake." Eli blinked. "Where am I?" "You are safe," she said. "You are on Zalara." "Zalara?" he said. "That's not real." "It is very real," she replied. He looked around. The walls were too clean, the air too perfect, and she, whoever she was, looked at him not with fear, but with intense purpose. "My name is Vela," she said. "I am one of the caretakers." "Caretaker?" Eli asked. "Am I sick?" "No," she said. "You are chosen." In another room, behind a glass wall, 3 more Valari females watched him. "He's strong," one said. "Healthy," said another. "The DNA markers match. He could be the key." The third one, Seren, remained silent. She just stared at the human through the glass. She didn't smile, but she didn't look away. Eli was moved to a larger room. No windows, no doors he could open. But it wasn't a prison. He had food, light, clean air, even soft music, but no answers, and no way out. That night, Vela returned. She brought a small screen. It showed images, alien charts, human cell scans, gene patterns. She explained slowly. "The Valari can no longer create life. Our wombs are empty. Our future is fading." Eli shook his head. "Why me?" "Because your kind still can." He stood up, angry, confused, afraid. "You kidnapped me." "We rescued you," Vela said softly. "You would have died in a mine collapse 2 days later. We took you before the ground broke." He stared and then sat down. She placed a small crystal disc on the table. It glowed. "This is not about using you, this is about asking you." Eli frowned. "What if I say no?" "Then we erase your memory and return you." He looked into her glowing eyes. And if I say yes, then you help save an entire people. He didn't answer that night. He lay in the strange bed, eyes open, staring at the alien lights above him. And far across the building, behind another glass wall, Seren sat alone. Watching his profile on a glowing screen, she whispered one sentence in her native language. Let him choose freely, or none of us deserve him. Selected for survival, Eli Ward didn't sleep much that night. Not because of noise, but because of silence. There was no hum of machines, no wind, no ticking clock, just the soft breath of a room that felt too perfect, too careful, and the knowledge that he wasn't here by choice. The next morning, Vela returned. She wasn't alone. 4 more Valari females followed her, each tall, elegant, and quiet. Their expressions were unreadable, but their eyes all focused on him. Eli stepped back. What now? Vela raised her hand. You have passed the initial health scans. Now comes the next phase. What phase? She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed to the center of the room, where a glass floor opened like a flower. A glowing platform rose slowly. Step on it, she said. Eli hesitated, but something deep in him whispered, if you want answers, move. So he did. As soon as he stood on the platform, a soft hum filled the air. A light scanned his body, head to toe. The wall in front of him lit up with strange symbols and spinning spirals. One of the Valari females tilted her head. Strong immunity, natural cell repair, neural stability. Another whispered, genetic pattern clean, no Earth mutations. Vela looked at the others. He qualifies. Eli blinked. Qualifies for what? The youngest one, Seren, stepped forward now, her voice quiet and calm. You qualify to bond. That word echoed inside his head. Bond? He looked around. You mean, like marriage? No, Seren replied. Our bond is not only emotion, it is connection of biology, of chemistry, of future. Vela explained further. There are many of us, but few matches. So far all human samples failed long-term pairing. Eli folded his arms. And I passed because I stood still on a glowing floor? No, Seren said. You passed because your body listened to ours, and did not reject us. The others left quietly, except Seren. She stood near the platform, hands behind her back. Her voice lowered. You are not like the others they tried. Eli frowned. Others? She nodded. Some humans resisted. Some broke under pressure. Others gave only to take. You ask too many questions, that means you still think. He tilted his head. You say that like it's rare. It is. In places like this. He stepped down from the platform. What now? He asked. You are placed in the match list, she said. For what? Breeding? She hesitated. For survival. But you may still say no. Eli gave a humorless laugh. Yeah? What happens if I do? Then your memory will be erased. You will return to Earth. You will forget everything, including us. The room fell quiet again. Serene watched him, studying. Finally, she added softly, I hope you don't forget, then turned and walked out. Over the next 2 days, Eli was moved to a new section of the facility. He was allowed more freedom. A window, a screen to read. Time in the courtyard, surrounded by glowing plants and silent guards. But always, under watch, he met others. 2 more human males, both older. One from Earth's deep colonies, one from a Titan research base. They said the same thing. They want us to give them something, but no one's told us what happens afterward. One whispered, they don't need men, they need hope, and we're the last ones who can give it. That night, a test was run. Eli stood in another glowing chamber, separated by glass. On the other side stood 3 Valari females. All of them, motionless, The system scanned him again. A red light blinked, then turned blue for one of the women. Match, 63%. Second, 51%. Third, 22%. Then a fourth figure walked in. Seren. The light blinked once, twice, then turned solid gold. Match, 100%. The glass faded, and the voice of the system spoke aloud for the first time. Bond potential. Complete. Emotional compatibility. Possible. Reproductive viability. Confirmed. Suggested path. Isolation bonding. Vela stepped forward. "This is rare," she said. "You and Seren are the only perfect pair found in over 60 trials." Eli didn't say anything. His eyes were locked on Seren. She didn't look at the screen. She looked only at him and said calmly, "You are not here to be used. You are here to choose." The silent female Eli Ward was now a match. That word followed him everywhere. The walls whispered it. The guards watched him differently. Even the food trays now arrived with perfect temperature and balanced nutrients, like his body mattered. More than his thoughts. But the only thing Eli cared about was her, Seren. Quiet, careful, always watching, but never pushing. She hadn't spoken to him since the results. No pressure, no request, just silence. And somehow that silence was louder than anything. On the fourth day, the door to his new chamber opened. Not with guards, not with orders, just her. Seren walked in holding a small glass bowl covered in steam. Eli blinked. "Is that soup?" She nodded. "It's from my home region. The roots were grown under silver light. It calms the body before decisions." Eli smiled. "You came all this way to give me soup?" Serene sat across from him, slowly, and placed the bowl between them, then replied, "No, I came to listen." For a while, neither spoke. He tasted the soup. It was earthy, strange, but warm. She watched him not like a test subject, but like someone learning a new language. After a few minutes, Eli broke the silence. "You're different from the others." Seren tilted her head. "How?" "They look at me like I'm a lab result. You look like you're waiting for something." "I am," she said. He narrowed his eyes. "What?" Her voice was soft. "For you to decide who you are, not just what." He leaned back. "Everyone here keeps saying this is about survival, genetics, programs, matches, but no one asks me how I feel about any of it." "I know," Serene said. "That's why I'm waiting." He blinked. "Waiting for me to run?" "No," she whispered. "Waiting to see if you'll stay without a chain." That hit him harder than he expected. He looked down at the soup. "What if I'm scared?" "Then you are honest," she said. "We value that more than bravery." She stood. "I will not speak again until you invite me to. That is our way. The bond must grow from comfort, not pressure." He looked up. "So, what if I don't invite you?" Seren paused at the door. "Then I return to silence. And I carry the memory of one who chose freely. That is enough." And then she was gone. The next day, Eli found something left at his door. A small cube, hand-carved, delicate symbols etched into every side. When he touched it, it softly unfolded into a glowing circle that floated in the air. Inside was a single word in Valari script, safe. No voice, no explanation. But Eli understood. That night he walked through the small garden dome attached to his chamber. Artificial stars shimmered above. He sat under the largest tree and whispered aloud, even though no one was there. "I don't want to be chosen just because I'm the last option." From the shadows, a soft voice replied, "You were never the last. You were the only one who looked back." He turned. Serene stepped into the light. Slowly, gently. "I said I wouldn't speak unless you invited me," she said. "You just did." Eli smiled. "I guess I did." She sat beside him, not touching, just close. He asked, "Why did you really volunteer for the breeding program?" Seren looked at the sky. "I didn't." He turned sharply. "But you—" "I was ordered to. Chosen because I had a steady mind and quiet heart. They thought I would not grow attached." Eli's chest tightened. "And did they guess wrong?" She looked at him, really looked, then said, "You made me hope again. That is the most dangerous change of all." They sat together for a long time, watching the artificial stars blink overhead. And as silence returned between them, it no longer felt cold. It felt like understanding. The genetic match. The next day came with light. But Eli Ward didn't feel bright inside. His heart was heavy. His thoughts were tangled. And somewhere deep inside, he knew today would change everything. 2. Guards met him outside his chamber. Their faces were calm but unreadable. "The council has called you," one said, "for final confirmation." Eli didn't argue. He followed them down a smooth hallway, its walls glowing a soft silver. Every few steps, he passed tall glass tubes filled with moving symbols, biological codes, DNA spirals, hormonal charts. Every display showed one thing: Eli plus, Seren, 100% match. At the end of the hall, a wide chamber opened. 12 Valari elders sat in a circle, robes of deep blue, silver threads glowing at the edges. In the center of the room stood Seren, still, silent, waiting. Eli's chest tightened when he saw her. She didn't look at him. She looked through him. Elder Missia rose. Her voice was deep and measured. "You, Eli Ward, are confirmed as our only viable full-pair match. Your DNA aligns perfectly. Your nervous system is compatible. Your immunity responds favorably to bonding compounds." Eli said nothing. "We request your presence in the bond isolation unit. 30 days, you and Seren, private time, no influence, no pressure. After the cycle, the process begins." She gestured toward the glowing door. "Do you accept?" Eli turned to Seren. Still, she didn't speak. He could see something in her eyes, calm, but distant. He cleared his throat. "I have a question," he said. "For her." The council members shifted slightly. Elder Missia nodded. "You may speak." Eli took one step closer to Seren. "Is this what you want?" The silence stretched. Then, Seren finally spoke, her voice soft but clear. "I want to save my people. That's not what I asked," Eli said gently. She looked into his eyes and then quietly, "I want you to want me. Not because you must. Not because I'm the only match. But because you see me." The room was still. Even the lights seemed to hold their breath. Eli turned to the elders. "I'll go with her," he said. "But I'll decide after the 30 days. Not before." Bond isolation wasn't a prison, but it wasn't freedom either. A quiet space. 2 sleeping pods. 1 shared. Garden room, no doors, no exit, just Seren and Eli. The first few days passed in silence. Eli spent his mornings walking in the garden, barefoot, feeling the soft grass-like plants. Seren read ancient texts, written on transparent scrolls. She never spoke unless he started. He wondered if the bond could ever truly grow in silence. Until the 7th night. They sat beneath the dome's glowing ceiling, fake stars drifting above. Eli sighed. Back on Earth, bonding means kissing, love, laughter, all that. Seren nodded. For us, it means knowing, choosing, becoming more together than alone. He looked at her and saw something new in her face. Fear. Not fear of him, but fear of hope. She whispered, "They see you as an answer. I see you as a question I don't want to lose." That night she left a carved symbol by his pillow. It looked like 2 half circles holding a single line. He brought it to her and asked, "What does it mean?" She answered, "It means Not yet, but almost. On day 21, she touched his hand. Just once. A soft press of her fingers against his palm. Nothing was said. But Eli didn't pull away. On day 27, they shared the same sleeping pod, not as mates, but as people who no longer wanted the silence between them. And on the final night, Seren stood by the garden wall, her eyes on the artificial stars. Eli walked up behind her. "I've made my choice," he said. She turned, he stepped closer, then gently touched her cheek. The first touch of human skin to Valari skin in full bond. "I don't care if we're the only match," he said. "You're not my duty. You're my reason." She smiled, really smiled. A soft curve of her lips, a glow in her eyes. Then she whispered, "Now we begin. Not as a program, but as us." Beyond the program, the door to the bond isolation unit opened with a soft sound. 30 days had passed, but Eli Ward didn't step out. Not yet. Inside, he stood in the small garden dome, holding Seren's hand. No one rushed them. No one spoke. Because something had changed. What started as a match was now something more. A choice. During their time in isolation, the silence between them had turned into comfort. They no longer spoke in questions. They spoke in small things. The way Seren brought him tea made from soft purple roots, the way Eli shared old Earth songs on his communicator chip, the way they watched the false stars together without saying a word, the way they sat so close, their arms sometimes touched, and neither pulled away. One night, Eli asked, softly, "What did you want to be before all this?" Seren looked at the ceiling, thoughtful. "I wanted to be a sky farmer, grow food in clouds, feed travelers from many worlds." He smiled. "You wanted to help people?" "I wanted to feel useful, not just needed." She paused. "And you?" He hesitated. "I wanted to be remembered, not as a hero, just remembered by someone." She reached out and touched his chest, just over his heart. "You are now." On day 30, the system announced, "Bond period, complete. Both participants may return for integration or remain for extension." Most matches ended here, with testing, implantation, and genetic programs. But Eli said no. He wanted more time, and Seren agreed. So they stayed. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. One evening, it began to rain. Not real rain, just a controlled weather setting in the dome. But it felt real. Serene stood in it, arms open, head tilted back. Her silver blue skin shimmered with droplets. Eli watched her, and for the first time he saw joy. Not duty, not control, just life. She turned to him, smiling. "Come feel it." He hesitated, then stepped into the rain. It was warm. She reached for him. He didn't resist. Her fingers touched his hair. He placed his hands around her waist. And for a moment, they stood there, forehead to forehead, letting the rain wash away everything else. No more isolation. No more genetic codes. Just them. That night, in the sleeping pod, Seren whispered, "I was created to carry life, but now, for the first time, I want to share it." Eli didn't speak. He just wrapped his arms around her, not with passion, but with peace. The next day, Vela came to see them. She found Eli and Seren sitting together, quietly working on a puzzle cube. Their hands moved together, slowly rotating the glowing sides. Vela watched them for a long moment, then said softly, "You are no longer just a match. You are something we haven't seen in years." Seren looked up. "What is that?" "A bond, with soul," Vela replied. "You are ready." Later that evening, Seren stood before a mirror in the chamber's inner room. She wore a soft wrap of layered fabric, marked with ancient Valari symbols. One on the shoulder read, "Hope renewed." Eli walked in, hair still damp from a quick shower, adjusting the collar of his fresh shirt. He stopped when he saw her. His voice caught. "You look—" She raised an eyebrow. "Strange?" "No. Like something I dreamed, but didn't think I deserved." She stepped forward, gently touched his hand. "Then maybe dreams do belong to us too." Before the final bond ceremony, they were given one last moment alone. Serene placed a small, carved box in Eli's hand. Inside was a glowing feather. "It's from the sky birds I told you about," she said. He nodded. "The ones that only land when they feel safe." She smiled. "You're my landing place." He pulled something from his pocket, an old earth coin, scratched, worn, simple. "It was my mother's," he said. "The last thing she gave me. I want you to have it." Serene's hand trembled as she took it, then pressed it to her heart. In that moment, the last wall between them fell. They weren't just human and Valari. They were Eli and Seren, chosen, connected, more than a program. Rebellion of the Chosen. The day after the bond was sealed, the Valari Council gathered, not to celebrate, not to welcome, but to intervene. Inside a high chamber made of white stone and light glass, the 12 elder females stood in a circle, their faces calm but cold. At the center stood Seren, wrapped in the ceremonial cloth of a bonded female. At her side stood Eli Ward, silent but strong. Behind them, 2 guards, unarmed, but watching. Elder Missia's voice filled the chamber. "You were given 30 days to complete the reproduction phase. Instead, you delayed it with human-style bonding, emotional requests, and rituals. That was not the purpose of your pairing." Serene spoke first. Her voice didn't shake. "I chose to delay because I chose him. Not just his body, his heart." One of the other elders scoffed. "He is human, temporary, short-lived." Seren raised her chin. "So are we now. Without him, we have no future." Eli finally stepped forward. "I thought this was about saving your people," he said. "But all you want is numbers, results, not life, not love." Missia's eyes narrowed. "We do not need your earth concept of love." "No," Eli said. "You need hope. And hope doesn't grow from orders. It grows from choice." A low murmur passed through the chamber. The youngest elder, who had spoken little until now, finally said, "Seren broke 3 core directives of the genetic revival program. She withheld mating, she expressed private emotion, and she gifted sacred items without council permission." Missia added coldly, "For that, she must be removed. Another female will take her place." Eli stepped between them and Seren. "She's not a machine. You don't get to replace her." 2 guards stepped forward. Seren moved to protect him, but Eli raised a hand. "Wait." He looked at the council. "You want me to stay in the program, right? Still give you your future?" "Yes," said Missia. "Then listen carefully," Eli said, voice steady now. "If you take her away and I walk, right now, and you lose everything." The words hung in the air, a human, unarmed, outnumbered, defying a council that ruled an entire species, but he didn't blink, didn't back down. Then, something unexpected happened. The walls of the chamber glowed blue. Not the lighting, not technology, but reaction. Valari chambers were built with energy-responsive stone. It changed color based on emotional resonance. Blue meant truth, conviction, purity, elder. Missia's eyes flickered to the walls, then to Serene, then back to Eli. She stepped back slowly and gave the smallest nod. "Very well. You may keep her. But your choice will have consequences. The path you walk now is no longer protected. You are outside the program. On your own." Seren looked up at Eli. He smiled softly. "Then we'll make our own program." That night, Seren and Eli returned to their private quarters. Not as subjects, not as tools, but as freed ones. No more tests. No more reports. No more watching eyes. only the sound of quiet breathing and the stars blinking softly beyond the glass dome. Seren sat on the floor, knees folded, holding the earth coin in her hand. "They will not help us now," she whispered. "No guards, no guides, no doctors. We are alone." Eli sat beside her. "Maybe alone is what we need to build something new." He looked at her belly. They had not begun the biological process yet, but he now wanted it to mean something. He reached out and held her hand. "I don't want to give your people just a child," he said. "I want to give them a story worth being born from." Seren's voice cracked as she whispered, "Then we begin tomorrow. Not with fear, not with numbers, but with faith." Outside, far beyond the dome, other Valari females heard whispers of what happened in the council chamber. Some felt confusion, some felt anger, but more and more felt inspired. Because for the first time in generations, someone had said no, and in that refusal, a new beginning was born. A new beginning, not a program. The morning after their rebellion, Eli Ward woke to silence. But this silence was different, not the cold silence of testing chambers, not the controlled silence of guards watching from glass walls. This silence felt like peace. Beside him, Seren was already awake. She stood near the wide window, her soft silver wrap catching the light from the twin suns rising beyond the horizon. She said nothing at first, just stared out at the sky, as if waiting for the world to begin again. Eli sat up, thinking. Serene nodded. "Always." He walked over, wrapped his arms gently around her from behind. "What are we now?" he asked. She leaned back into him. Something the council never wrote rules for. Later that day, they entered the medical wing, but not through the central gate. They bypassed the council-approved labs. They entered the old temple wing where healers once helped births the ancient way, through connection, not command. There, a single elder waited. Not a scientist, not a controller, just a soft-eyed woman with gray streaks in her tentacles and time carved into her face. "I was a birth keeper," she said, "before the programs replaced us." Serene bowed deeply. "We ask for a beginning, not from order but from understanding." The elder placed one hand on Eli's shoulder, then one on Seren's chest. "Then begin as the first ones did, not with fear, but with choice." The process wasn't fast, and it wasn't forced. There were no injections, no chambers, just a room filled with calm light, warm blankets, and shared breath. Serene and Eli rested together, hand in hand, hearts aligned. They spoke softly, about names, about the kind of future they wanted, about building a life, not just a body. Weeks passed, then months. Their bond only deepened. And then one morning, Seren placed Eli's hand on her stomach, very still, very quiet, then said with tears in her eyes, "There is a pulse inside me, not mine, not yours, but ours." The news spread slowly. The council tried to suppress it at first, but the story moved faster than law. A human and a Valari had created life, not through control, not through programming, but through true bonding, something the high system had failed to do in over 60 years. One by one, other females began to come forward. Some left the programs, some refused assigned matches, some simply whispered in corners of the city. What if we stopped obeying and started feeling? The child inside Seren grew strong. Her skin glowed more each day. Her voice carried new tones. Eli carved a wooden ring from old temple trees and gave it to her under starlight. "I don't know what kind of world our child will live in," he said, "but I promise it will be one where love is not illegal." Seren answered by kissing his forehead, then his lips, then placing his hand on her stomach again. "We are not the last. We are the first." On the day of the child's birth, the sky above Zalara changed. A rare light appeared, called veil fire. Oh, soft ribbon of color that hadn't shone in decades. The elders who once scolded Seren now stood in silence outside the temple walls, waiting, wondering. And then, they heard it, a single sound, tiny, but full of life. A newborn cry. Inside, Seren held the baby in her arms. She was perfect. Valari skin, human warmth, eyes that glowed faint gold, a color never seen before. Eli sat beside her, eyes full of tears. "What's her name?" he asked. Seren whispered, "Her name is Ilaran. One letter from each of us. A name that means chosen by choice." The child didn't just change them. She changed everything. A living bond. A breathing answer. A future that wasn't written in programs or predictions, but in trust, in connection. In the years to come, Seren and Eli were never given titles. No medals. No crowns. Just respect. And a home where other bonded pairs came to learn the old ways. Again, where love wasn't a threat, but the foundation of a species reborn.